Hugging the Trans-Canada Highway in the middle of Saskatchewan are the prairie communities of Indian Head and Wolseley. Nestled against the Cypress Hills is the frontier town of Maple Creek, and to the north, the gateway city of Prince Albert. Together, they have been selected by the Government of Saskatchewan to participate in an exciting project of community regeneration. Using Heritage Canada, the National Trust's trademark Main Street approach, the Main Street Saskatchewan program strives to assist communities to view their heritage buildings, traditions, and local character as practical tools to drive economic, social, and cultural activity, and boost confidence and pride in their downtown.
But up in here is where we're actually going to build the arbor, which is going to be right dead center in the middle of those trees. We're going to take those trees out, and that will be a passage through into a lovely green space beyond.
Thanks everybody for coming out to our coordinators meeting. It's great to see everybody out and down here in Maple Creek. So we have a few things on the agenda that we'd set out before, talked about some stats and working with our local community leaders in that, and as well as planning for the annual Main Street.
In each community, a local coordinator is hired to help facilitate the process. The local coordinator works closely with the volunteer Main Street Committee and acts as a catalyst, bringing together businesses, municipal government, building owners, local organizations, and volunteers.
Regardless of the size of your community, there are things you can be doing to revitalize your downtown that has a social, a cultural, and an economic benefit for your community, regardless of the size of it. So
we really can't just go into communities and tell people to fix up their old buildings. You really need to build a foundation of economic activity, marketing, promotion, engagement of the community, and ultimately you can create a climate of confidence that will make people much more comfortable investing in the character and the appearance of their buildings. So that's really a sort of stealth approach to heritage conservation that was introduced through the Main Street program.
A resource team equipped with expertise in design, economic and organizational development, and marketing, the famous Main Street 4 Points, is ready to engage the community in an intensive exchange of ideas, designed to build consensus and shape an action plan for the future. It starts with getting to know the community.
We were observing the fieldstone fire separation wall here. It's unusual to see it, but it's obviously exposed now as a result of that the fire that happened.
So when Royce and I were walking around looking at the building probably about half a year ago or so, we were looking at the state of the masonry component of the building, which is obviously the largest part. And we were trying to look at the conditions and to see what we might think was wrong, other than, very obvious cracks that you see due to shifting and some of the mortar being washed out.
The community drives the regeneration vision and actions. Resource teams meet with a range of community players, property and business owners, residents, elected officials, artists, professionals, and volunteers, and encourage young people in the community to add their voice to the plan.
In terms of how we can develop plans for the future, but we need your voice in this, okay? So we're going to do kind of a role play. So today, think of yourselves as designers or planners, architects, artists, maybe a business entrepreneurial kind of person. So think about yourselves that way. You're going to work in teams. Just think into the future what you'd really like to see this town to be like. Whether it's stuff on the landscape, improvements to a certain place or buildings, or just something new. So think very futuristically. Every idea is good in this exercise, okay?
Meanwhile, expertise in design and heritage conservation helps property owners see the value and potential of their buildings.
Indentation defined there.
Exactly.
That repair work there.
Yeah.
Similarly, the geometry of dog tooth of the vertical siding there.
Yeah.
You can imagine trying to flash that.
Yeah.
You know, you're flashing something that's already indented.
Yeah.
So I would like to know for sure how they manage that.
Yeah.
The right business in the right location is an essential ingredient in keeping a main street viable. Local merchants benefit from expertise in business development and real estate.
Well, today we're taking a walk down Main Street because Barb has this great idea about a business opportunity, and so today we're really exploring what real estate might be on the street that could work for her, and we're trying to think about ideas to make it happen.
SaskCulture's support has made it possible for cultural planning to be an important component of Main Street Saskatchewan's demonstration projects, and in so doing, provides a tangible model for other communities to follow.
What matters most is that it's about that guide for what makes the essence of your community based on your values, based on your principles, and based on your goals on the long-term horizon.
Cultural planning is a locally led process for identifying and leveraging community cultural resources and integrating them across all facets of local planning and decision-making. Identifying all the assets that can contribute to the viability of the downtown is at the heart of the Main Street method.
You may be sitting around tables with people over the next one through, we hope, forever now, in ways that you may never have conceptualized before, based on a shift of now, this is a plan that we're doing together.
Main Street planning starts with the community identifying and evaluating its assets toward the development of a powerful vision for the future. The action now moves to the town hall gathering to build consensus around the vision.
Every finger and arm and everything's good.
Yeah, so sharing of information, would that be fair?
So he's lined up some other events, which is good.
Okay, is it realistic to say we can get things done?
And so these are the things to draw from.
Attractive downtown, reactivate the beach.
Washrooms, the information booth.
These communities are embracing this project.
He is so visible on Main Street in his office.
In the community of Prince Albert, the largest of the 4 demonstration communities, the community has embraced the Main Street program.
We're the oldest city in the province. 1912 seemed to be the real boom year. We've probably got, it's 8 or 9 buildings for sure, and the architecture, the building of that area is very significant in the whole downtown core here. The forefathers that built these, that's what we're trying to maintain. We need this, because you don't see these style of buildings anywhere else. They're strictly in the downtown, so we got to do our best to make sure we preserve them. When we had to have our visioning and planning sessions, we had really good turnouts there from the community to sit in and give their input, how they envision our downtown to be in the future, and put their input in for that. So that showed great support. So the community support's been really good right from the start here. We definitely have to work with the city. Without their support, this would not be successful at all. Some of the older buildings in our downtown area now are getting new residents and businesses in them here. We just had a bistro open up here on Monday, and they're so excited about being in the downtown here. They fixed up the interior very well, and they're working on the exterior now. With them opening at the same time, since this Main Street program started, we've had 15 new businesses in the downtown area. And that's significant.
For some reason, I was intrigued by this old building, and decided that we would try to bring it back to where it was. And once we got into the building, and we made the decision, for maybe 10% more, which was a bit of a fallacy, but we could probably turn this into something quite nice. So my partners and I decided that we would try to turn this building into what it looked like when it was built, 1900 or so. I've always been a builder of new and not a restorer of old, but it just feels like the right thing to do. It makes me kind of want to buy an old house now.
In Maple Creek, the Main Street program has embraced the challenge of bringing an iconic frontier landmark back to life in an effort to regenerate an important intersection between the past and the future.
It was an unprecedented event that had really never happened on that scale before in the history of the community. Water from the Cypress Hills backed up along Maple Creek and started running down the main street of the town, and it damaged a number of the heritage buildings and the businesses in our downtown core. The commercial hotel, unfortunately, was probably one of the hardest hit buildings in the downtown, and it effectively closed the building, which was really quite sad. The commercial hotel was our oldest continually operated business until that point. It had opened the doors in 1884, and until the flood in 2010, it had never closed. Many people felt that this building was representative of Maple Creek's sort of old cowtown past, and were really quite concerned about what was going to happen to the building after the flood, and everyone was quite worried that it was going to be torn down, and all of the history and that the memories that went with it would be lost. The group that came together to acquire the property and to rehabilitate it and get it reopened to the public was a group of new residents to Maple Creek, people that were actually new Canadians. They were from the Philippines, and they saw how much the community loved the building and how much folklore was associated with the building, and they really wanted to do something for the community that would give back to their new adopted home.
Hello, I'm Jason Catalasan, one of the owners of Maple Creek Commercial Hotel. It's really a waste for a beautiful town of Maple Creek to lose really a heritage establishment, and maybe like a part of Maple Creek. As for some help from the Main Street program and the Heritage Foundation. So people were really surprised that Filipinos and immigrants like us have the heart to really save the establishment. Even though we're just immigrants here in Canada and very new here in Maple Creek, we were really interested not only for the business but to, as we always say, just to give back to the town of Maple Creek, who really accepted us as their own.
In Indian Head, the Main Street program has truly galvanized the community. A community group has been formed to save an important piece of history, their heritage movie house and performing arts theater.
So we're all pretty excited, and the town seems to be fairly well mobilized and interested in keeping this piece of our history alive and well for the next 100 years.
In Wolseley, the smallest of the demonstration communities with a population of less than 1,000, the community has taken on numerous capital projects, including the restoration of the historic Pearly Block.
As you can see, the immense metal cornice on top identifies it very well, and it is one of the earliest buildings on Commercial Street in Wolseley. And so for now, the intent is to give back to the Pearly Block its original shape and look as it was when it was constructed in 1906.
Change is incremental. When community members and business owners see evidence of change, excitement grows, and so too does the community's sense of pride and confidence.
We found out there was even a Main Street organization in existence. We heard the first rumblings of it, and I thought, wow, wouldn't that be cool? And after a whole lot of work by a whole lot of people, we finally are at the stage where we can show you what Main Street is all about and the possibilities that Main Street has. And we look forward to the future and many more of these. Thank you.
The investment in Main Street, Saskatchewan is already demonstrating impressive results. Nearly $3 million in private investment has gone towards the rehabilitation of over 30 buildings, with 50+ new jobs created and more than 11,000 volunteer hours contributed.
So when the Main Street program came along, it was almost like it was custom made for us. You know, it was a program that was about community revitalization, about heritage conservation, about tourism development, and given the work that we were already doing in those areas, the Main Street program was just a natural fit for us.
We had really good turnouts there from the community to sit in and give their input, how they envision our downtown to be in the future, and put their input in for that. So that showed great support. So the community support's been really good right from the start here. So we just want it to continue on.
And please remember, the Main Street office is a public office. Come on down, talk to me with your ideas. We'll be documenting all of these and bringing them all together, and we'll be picking, I suppose, the achievable ones over the next 3 years. We hope to implement many of these ideas. So thank you very much for your participation.
The bricks and mortar portion is easy to deal with, but the working together as a community with one common vision is the key to the success for all of us, for the sustainability and the future vitality of Indian Head.
When communities come together in the Main Street process, a sense of pride emerges, fueling visions of what can be. Through shared planning, a collective vision, and sheer determination, Main Street holds the potential to transform your community. Regeneration on Main Street, embracing the past, creating a bright and prosperous future.